The markets are continuing to climb on news that at least the finance minister of Greece believes there will be a deal on Monday. The Eurogroup didn't say anything even close to that. But could the Sunday referendum lead to Greece exiting the Eurozone and being forced to adopt the drachma once again, that ancient currency? Well, as talks of that possibility first started, shares of Fortress Paper skyrocketed as rumors circulated the currency printing company had already been approached to help reprint the drachma. Shares are up 69% in just the last 3 months. How would that process work? We are joined now in a Fox Business exclusive by the CEO of Fortress Paper. Welcome, and thank you for joining us, Chad.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I know you cannot comment as to whether you will get the nod to reprint, of course, but the question becomes right off the bat, with Greece on the brink and the crisis persisting through the weekend, how would something like that work? How do you start reprinting an old currency?
Yeah, most likely it would not be the old currency. They would have to develop and design a brand new currency. That process under a typical scenario would take 6 months to some national banks take as long as 3 years to develop and design. Under a crisis like this, it would still take at least a month to design it, and then anywhere from 3 to 4 months to produce it. Once it's all produced, it would still take another 3 to 6 months to properly and effectively and efficiently roll it out. You need to change out ATM machines to recognize the new bills, the new security features and things like that, all the vending machines and things like that. But you know, it'll be a challenging time, and they can't drop the euro that quickly. It will take a process and some time.
Who calls you when something like that happens? Is it the finance minister? Is it the prime minister? Is it somebody who's in charge of the country's mint, if there is one? Do they say, hey, Chad, can you start reprinting that thing? Just make it look like the old one?
Yeah. Usually it's the central bank of each of these countries. So they do have an issuing authority within the central bank. Usually there is a team of people there working on the currency and the various requirements. So that's where the tendering process starts. And then it goes out to the various commercial printers around the world to design and develop and go through it. But there's no raw material or security threads or other security features just sitting ready and idle for production. So only once that is officially launched can the security features begin to be produced that would say something like the drachma, for example, then to ship them to the paper maker where they get inserted into the paper along with other security features, and then it goes through printing, sorting, etc. It's a many month process.
Yeah, I mean, and what will people be using in between then and now? Chad, can you stay with us? Because we've got a woman bringing in who's got ties to the business world in Europe, the former head of International Paper's European division. She's now Veritiv CEO, Mary Laschinger. Thank you for joining us. You dealt with everybody in Europe back then when you worked at International Paper. Now I'm just wondering what happens if the Russians decide, because you worked with the Russians.
I did.
They want to be in this process. They want to swoop in and save Greece, don't they?
It's hard to predict what they might have in mind, but it's certainly a possibility.
And now what happens? And tell me about how the climate of your business is going.
Yeah, the direct impact of what's happening in Greece to us will be minimal, because we have a minimal amount of business in Europe. Most of our business is transacted in North America. However, we buy over $8 billion worth of products and services, and some of that does come from Europe. And to the extent that the European economy is impacted and the U.S. dollar gets stronger, it makes imports more attractive from a pricing standpoint, and consequently that has an impact on U.S. manufacturing.
Yeah, but you need that money to pay for everything. And Chad, I'm so interested to know, what was the most recent foreign currency your company printed up in a new form?
We're currently in production for the next series of Swiss franc. So we're the sole maker of their currency and have been for over 30 years.
Hey, you got a good contract with those guys. That's great. But obviously, you would love to have any new country that would need it. But may I just ask, doesn't a central bank have to guarantee back up a paper currency with something like gold? What would the Greeks be backing it up with?
No, exactly. A lot of, there used to be the old gold standard and things like that, but now all a banknote is confidence and trust in that government. And obviously with the debt situation that Greece has, whether they're in or out of the Eurozone, those numbers don't change. Obviously they're going to have a tough time. There'll be rampant inflation, and they'll need more and more banknotes to keep up with that.
And that, if that happens, Mary, would start to affect your business, would it not?
It likely could.
Because there's contagion.
Sure, absolutely. So what's happening in Europe ultimately will have an impact on the U.S. economy and ultimately impact jobs, which I don't think is all that robust to begin with as it stands today.
Well, the dollar's stronger, and we know that that certainly hurts multinationals, but there are a lot of smart people, Steve Forbes among them, who say it's not bad to have a strong currency. Chad, I just want to quickly ask you, I know you can't tell us if you're going to get the nod, but when would you know if you were going to get a call from the Greek Central Bank to say start printing drachma again?
Yeah, typically national banks are very, very conservative. They have redundancy plans, sometimes multiple redundancy plans. Some national banks have 2 sets of currencies in their vaults just in case something were to go wrong.
Whoa.
So again, you can read into that if they really felt they were coming out, they would be as prepared as they can be for such an event.
Mm-hmm. But it's fair to say you'd like the contract to reprint the drachma.
Yes, we'd be very open to that. Again, we already produced the euro for several countries. I can't disclose which of the 10 countries, but we're comfortable and familiar with the Greece National Bank.
If you get the nod, come back. Chad Wasilenkoff, thank you very much. We appreciate it. He's the Fortress Paper CEO, stock up 69% in just the past 3 months. And Mary Laschinger, thank you. Good luck to you at Veritiv.
You're welcome. Thank you.
CEO Veritiv. Closing